I'm Katie Griffith with Bright Solutions. Welcome to the next episode of The Bright Side of AI. I'm so excited to have Dawn Armstrong with us again today from HumanGood. She is such a guiding light for us in senior living around all things technology, including our AI journey. So we're excited to have a conversation today that will benefit senior living organizations as they approach their AI journey as well and get ready for really getting to harness the promises of AI in the future, in the near future. And there's lots of things we can be doing today to prepare for that and to already begin leveraging AI in our communities. So, with that, Dawn, thank you so much for joining us again today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me again, Katie. Your topics are always so poignant and always spot on to exactly what's going on, just generally speaking, and right here where I'm existing. So thank you.
Absolutely. I appreciate you sharing your wisdom and your experiences. And it's really a need in our industry because a lot of people feel a little nervous and a little stuck, but you are there leading the charge every day. So I'd love to hear about the latest and greatest at HumanGood as far as your AI journey.
Well, wow, we've got so many things going on. First of all, you see that little guy in the background here?
I love him.
That's our Lemme Ask, our little Lemme Ask chatbot icon. So
Oh,
uh,
cool.
he's our guy.
Hi,
Um,
Lemmy.
He's got the Human Good logo on his chest, and yeah, so that's Let Me Ask right there. But yeah, so speaking of Let Me Ask, our internal chatbot that we rolled out about, oh goodness, I guess it's now been about, geez, probably 10 months or so, but we're rolling into our version 2.1, and we're moving from more of a, basically we're just asking questions of completely normal topics like FAQs, essentially, right? So not really LLMs per se, but just FAQs about the business, which frankly, when you're a business of any size and you onboard new employees or you have 125 locations like we have, there's always, I mean, who do you go for? Who do you go to for information? There's always some question you need to ask somebody. And it's way easier to ask our little guy here, Let Me Ask, in our internal chatbot. But now what we're doing is we're moving into our next version 2.1, where Lemmy is getting a little smarter. And Lemmy is having things like our occupancy rates and different information that is much more current. So we're getting into providing up to the minute data. And we're learning how to do that. It's really a programmatic thing that we need to teach ourselves. It's absolutely fascinating to me how fast this entire shift in technology is moving. And it's just an incredible challenge and, frankly, a lot of fun to try to keep up with.
I couldn't agree more. It's happening fast. It's a exponential change. It's a paradigm shift in the way that we work. So I'm so excited about what's coming and what's already here today. And I love what you're doing with Lemme Ask because I think that people really underestimate the value of what you've already provided through that chatbot. Like you said, you have turnover, you have new employees, not to mention mergers and acquisitions, new organizations coming into the fold. So to be able to ask these basic questions, what seem like basic questions on their own, where otherwise they would have had to dig and dig or call someone, send an email, and someone just gets inundated with emails. It is such a valuable piece that not that it was easy to set up, but people are afraid, like, oh, I don't know, what to build with AI. I can't, we're not a software company. We can't build this huge, complicated thing that does all these crazy things. What if it makes mistakes? But that's something that I think most organizations could take advantage of with some effort. So,
Yeah, and maybe one of these days we can do a session on the kind of the technical back end of a simple, FAQ type chatbot, but where all of us need to go from a back end business perspective is that We need to build out our foundational data lakes. And how do we provide that data to the business and to any chatbots or agentic AI that we're building to make sure that data is there and that data is whole so that we can provide that insight, up to the minute insights to our senior leadership so that they can make decisions.
That's exactly right. And you must just be in my brain because this is what I've just been so focused on lately. Because I feel like, too, a lot of organizations say, well, we're not doing anything with AI right now. Okay, but you have so much work to do to get your data ready. And what that means is you have all these systems you've invested in, whether it's your EHR, resident engagement, even dining software, all of your major platforms. You need to make sure that you're utilizing them, that the staff members are actually inputting data into those systems, and you don't have these other paper manual processes happening outside of your systems, which 99% of organizations have that going on, right? They're not all just fully using all of their systems the way they're intended to be used. So that's where you need to start is kind of assessing your major systems and saying, how are we doing with these? Are we getting the data in a timely manner? Is it accurate? Data governance is a whole nother topic that's critical right now. So getting your ducks in a row, right? And then so you can assess and see how you're doing and then start and just prioritize initiatives in order to start, okay, let's get folks to start inputting this information into these systems and let's have an effort towards that. There's so, I don't want to say there's so much work to do because I don't want people to get scared, but just saying we're not using AI right now, I mean, there's just a lot of prep that you can be doing.
And if you like just using an example of resident apartment numbers, unit numbers, at all of our communities, those numbers are different. There's no standard across any of our communities. So in our skilled nursing, those numbers are different. In all of our independent living, some of them are 3 digit, some of them are 4 digit, some of them have alphanumeric. There could be different across the one community. So not having a standard for all of these different data inputs across all of your organization creates this mess of data that makes it impossible for you to get insights out of. Because if you think about it, right? So now I want to take all of my independent living units and I want to understand how much water they're using, for example. If you can't even sort out which units are at which property because you don't even have a consistency of your naming convention, it's going to be pretty difficult. So, you have to start somewhere. And
That's
clean
right.
data, AI doesn't work unless your data is clean. That's the
Right.
bottom line.
That's absolutely right. And as you mentioned, I would love it if we did a session sometime on kind of the foundational layers of AI with the data lake, the foundational model, and then you can layer on top of that your different AI applications that you want to start using. And again, that's where we are so focused right now and helping people understand that and then get started on that data lake. So really cool. Shifting gears a little bit more towards just I would say like the consumer facing generative AI solutions. We all pull up our browser and go to our favorite chat GPT or Grok or whatever it is that we personally prefer. KPMG did a survey of 48,000 workers around that usage. And let's see, they said that 57% of those workers surveyed are keeping their AI usage from their managers. They're not telling their managers that they're using it and actually hiding their usage of it. And then two-thirds of those surveyed, they don't verify the accuracy of the AI output. So I'd love to hear your thoughts around those statistics.
We haven't done any surveys in-house here, but from what I can see in our security tools, which we've added several dashboards in our security tools to see what I would consider shadow AI usage on these consumer type tools. And yeah, at 100%, those numbers from KPMG sound pretty right on.
Mhm.
Or there's definitely, which is ironic. We offer Copilot licenses here, and all you have to do is take two relatively short training classes, and you can get a Copilot license. Copilot, any of these licenses are not really all that cheap, but the amount of money that you can save, if I save 30 minutes, even a month, I'm paying for that $20 or $30 a month license with no problem whatsoever.
Mhm.
But for some reason, the adoption rate is not what I expected.
Mhm.
But the shadow IT part of people using consumer tools on the free end is quite high. And I'm actually going to send out a survey because we know who's doing it, right?
Mhm.
I'm going to send out a survey because I want to know why. So I suspect that it's essentially just ease of use, right? I mean, we're all lazy, right? It's a path of least resistance. It's there. It's the one I started with. It's the one I know, right? So yeah, and I can see why as a worker, right? As just your typical frontline knowledge worker, why would I share with my boss that I'm using AI to do my work?
Right.
Because you have that fear that, well, that boss is gonna think that, well, maybe they don't need me.
Right, right. And so I think that for me, I started using ChatGPT originally just when it first came out, just to see what it was. And then as I kept using it, it got to know me. So then it was hard for me to transition to a new one. But I've since learned that it's actually very easy to transition to a different platform if I just start out with, hey, let me give you all this information to and context, right? Let me give you context of like my voice and so forth. And so, but I love that you said that you have them take a short little couple trainings before Copilot, because I think that's a really important key is, you know, making sure that people understand like not only what's like a safe way to use it, appropriate way, what are our requirements and best practices, but also like how can you be more effective with it? Like, do they know how to prompt it in a way that's going to get better results? Do they know about different use cases in their job role that would actually be really tremendously valuable to them that they maybe just didn't even think of? So I think that's cool that you're having, and I'm going all over the place here, but because I have a lot to say about it, but training people, but then also maybe it's just a matter of, hey, we know why you like to use, and I love you're going to survey to find out, I know why you like to use your own thing, and then just illustrating to them how they can do that in Copilot or how easy that transition can be for them and that they just probably don't realize.
Yeah. And the method that we're doing in order to educate our users is evolving constantly because as more features are released in whichever LLM that you're using as a business, like Microsoft for Copilot literally releases new features in Copilot every week.
Mhm.
It's hard to keep up just from an IT department. And we have to kind of morph how are our people using that? How are they understanding how to prompt? Okay, so now we've kind of talked about prompting. What is the next step? And so when you get your Copilot license, so you've taken your training because we really want to make sure that people understand that you should check the output because LLMs do hallucinate. They may not be telling you the exact truth, right?
Mhm.
So, we want to make sure that they understand that if you're selecting the work button on a Copilot, then that data that you're getting information from is work related. And if you're inputting a document, it's staying within the Azure Microsoft ecosystem. So it's protected, right? But if you're going out to the consumer-based Grok, ChatGPT, then you have to understand that if you're uploading a contract or an Excel spreadsheet, you need to understand that is out in the wild
Right.
and it's not protected in any way, shape, or form. I mean, we need to conform to, we have PHI data. We need to make sure that people understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think too, one thing that came to mind recently, I think people know that like their browsing history and their email is discoverable in like a legal situation. But I feel like people feel really comfortable with just like having these personal conversations with their grok or whatever it is. And I'm like, that's discoverable. Like that could be so,
Every single thing is discoverable.
right.
Nothing on the internet ever goes away. There is actually I can't remember what state it was, if it was the state of New York or if it was federal court, but OpenAI actually must keep every single chat history because they're being sued. So they're required to save everything, regardless of whether you move the little box that says you can save my data or not in security settings. They are still required to save it because they're under a hold requirement by the government. So,
Mm.
your data is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
It's going to stay right there.
I know. I think because the AI has a personality, so they think they're like, maybe we should just announce like AI doesn't love you. It's not
Well,
your friend. It's not
and
going
if you
to
think
keep
about
your
it, there's
stuff
an
private.
inherent people have an inherent trust of people. People have an inherent trust of things they don't understand, right? If you don't understand it, how the underlying engine of it all works, then I think there's just an inherent trust of it,
Yeah. Wow.
right?
hmm Well, thank you so much for your time. Let's leave the audience with, is there any advice that you would give to an organization that loves what you've done with Let Me Ask and, and kind of any lessons learned or how they could get started?
I would say just start simple. Start with an FAQ, you know, kind of interview a couple departments and see which department is getting hammered the most with the most questions. We actually found that one of the biggest we actually had one department, our corporate P card, our corporate card department, they actually had one person that was their job, was to answer people's credit card questions all day long. What's my balance? How can I increase my balance? What is this? What is that? Is this an allowable expense? It was just like an amazing amount of questions. And we moved all of those questions into Lemme Ask, and that person is now able to do other probably way more interesting things than answer the exact same questions over and over again.
Absolutely.
So just figure out where you can get the most bang for your buck and start there.
Love it. Well, thanks again, Dawn. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to speaking to you again soon.
You betcha. Thank you so much, Katie.
All right.